Hi everyone, my name is Sydney and I am a middle school leader at Rock Harbor Mission Viejo campus, and I'm so excited to be hosting you guys today. So as you can imagine, school season has eventually begun again. And I bet we're all pretty disappointed about being back online, but I will say, since we're online, it's definitely a little different, and we do have some more funny things that we have to worry about, like making sure your bed is clean behind you in your room, or making sure your dogs aren't barking during a lecture. And for this next part, I'm actually going to call out my middle school co-leader, Hannah Breland. I saw a video today that she put on social media. She was in some sort of class, not sure what kind, but she was just making a video just for fun, and then all of a sudden she just kind of makes a funny face and goes, "Ah!" And the class goes silent, and you see the fear on her face, and she's just like, what did I just do? Then the teacher continues talking, and she's like, okay, I was muted, it's okay, but obviously that's something we have to worry about now. It's having to be muted, unmuted, camera off, on, lots of decisions we have to be thinking about before we join a Zoom call. But in this time, I'm especially thankful for my mom and dad for supporting me through online schooling. I know it's a little bit different, but especially my mom, she's being very, very kind to me through it all. I think she knows that it's a bit different for all of us. So this morning I got a text from her, and it just simply said, "Sending you some phone love," with a few cute emojis and a video. And I was like, okay, my mom doesn't usually send me videos. What could this be? I click on it, and she's listening to the song "Don't Start Now" by Dua Lipa, if you know how that goes. And she's not really doing anything. She's just in the car, but she's just like holding the phone and just kind of doing one of these, like she's into it, but she doesn't really know how to dance, sing, or anything, so just kind of grooving with it. Speaking of grooving, we're gonna move into a session with Heather called Carpool Kooks.
Hey!
Whoa, hey, what are you doing here?
You know, I was just driving through Irvine, and I was like, you know who lives in Irvine? 3.
Oh, so convenient, given that I live on a cul-de-sac, and it's obviously not a through street, but we can do a little U-ey.
Yeah, and there's a trash truck, but you know, it's all good.
It's all good. Wednesdays are trash days over here,
Oh,
so, you know.
Mine's Tuesdays in Costa Mesa, so I'm used to that.
You mean they don't do it all in one day everywhere around the world?
No.
Oh, I never would have guessed.
I'm not gonna make this.
Uh-oh.
I gotta do a little reverse
Beep,
section.
beep, beep, beep,
Your
beep.
parents are painting their house.
Yeah, we're painting it white with black shutters, getting on trend, you know.
Wow.
It used to be a like buttery yellow, so very excited to have the change.
That is so fun.
Either way, we stick out on our street because our street is like all beige houses, but you know.
Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna be the trendy house.
We just want to be trendy, you know? It's our aspiration in life, so.
That is so great. Audrey lives really close by you. She's going into high school, and I figure...
Can we come get her?
Yeah, you're a high school leader. She's going into high school. I mean, like, you know, you can give her some wisdom.
Great. I'm just a wealth of knowledge, so.
Oh no! I saw that coming.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Technical glitches.
I knew this was gonna happen.
You know? And get like a mount for your car, you know?
Okay, Bill, here's the thing. The mounts don't stay right here, like on my dashboard, because it's leather and like it doesn't work. Oh, there's no one. I don't need to wait for a light. Well, that was an adventure getting the phone mounted. Who knew? Let's hope that it stays this time.
You know, otherwise you guys are just gonna get a little bit of nausea, motion sickness.
Do you get car sick a lot?
I didn't used to. This is a fun fact. I used to be able to like literally sit upside down, reading, watching movies, whatever in the car. And then all of a sudden I turned like 18 and somehow my body flipped a switch and now I get like really easily car sick.
You don't get sick on roller coasters though, do you?
Not, like, as of now,
Yeah.
but I also haven't been on any, like, super intense roller coasters. The most intense that I've been on since I was 18 is, like,
The Incredicoaster.
the Incredicoaster,
Yeah.
which, come on, I mean,
It's so good.
it's great. You can't beat it.
No. I love it when my stomach just like drops.
Yes, it's the best feeling. That's what I love about
I hate
airplanes.
it,
When
but
it
then I
happens
love
on
it.
takeoff on an airplane and you're like, you lose your stomach. Does that ever happen?
No, I don't
Oh, that
feel it
happens
on
to me.
airplanes.
Oh, I love it.
I was just on an airplane a few weeks ago, and
You did lose your stomach.
no, I don't understand.
Maybe I just have like really bad pilots.
Maybe.
They like don't do a good job with takeoff, and so they
But,
like drop you and stuff.
Like John Wayne, Orange County, they say it's like the fastest one because the runway is so short with all the
Oh.
things that like I would think
Maybe.
that is where I would feel it the most.
But I don't like having the dropping sensation always. Like Tower of Terror or Guardians or whatever it's called now. I can't do it.
Oh, I think it's so fun. Just like the first drop is the best drop.
The first drop is the longest drop.
And it's the best one.
It's the worst one.
It's the best one. You're like, whoa! And then you're like, here I am. I'm here for this. And then the music's playing, and you're like, oh, yeah.
And then cue me gripping with a death grip onto the like handles, going like, ah! Guys, I get FOMO, and so I get peer pressure to going on rides that scare me, just because I don't want to be the only one not on the ride, you know?
I
So-
do. I feel that about a lot of things with FOMO. Like, I just don't like, I want to be included.
I know. I want to be with people. I don't want to just like be alone
Even if I
outside of the
can't be
ride.
there.
That's depressing.
I'm totally invited.
Yeah.
Like, that's why when like Maddie and Stevie did like Carpool Kooks, I was like, I just want to be invited. And then
I just want to be wanted.
then
Is
I-
that too much to ask?
and then I popped out for me.
You know, that was like the best part of the whole thing, though.
Yeah, that is a little sketch. Don't do that. That is.
Were you in the drunk the whole time?
I can neither confirm or deny anything.
What are your
But that
guys'
is
theories? I think my theory is that you were in the trunk the entire
That
time.
is illegal. Why would I do that?
Heather's not a lawbreaker. What are you talking about?
No, I follow every rule. The world is black and white.
Obviously.
It's not. It's
I
pretty
know.
gray.
Okay, I gotta take these off. Anyone else get like foggy glasses from their masks?
Yeah, it's the story of my
Yeah.
life.
The story of my life.
I
Take her home. We drive all night. I don't know the rest of the words.
All I know is One Direction is R.I.P.
R.I.P. Man, those were good days.
10 years later, alright, I gotta text Audrey.
Okay, yes, let her know we're here. She lives so close to me. This is
I know,
crazy.
I told you, you guys live so close.
Who's it gonna be? Oh, we already said it was Audrey.
I already said.
Hey!
So the people can see you.
Yes, but click get our ticket, guys. Come on, safety first.
You don't have to wear a mask, but we'll wear masks just because, you know. Okay, it goes into that one, even though it's kind of weird. Yeah, just stop.
We're all buckled and ready to go.
Here we go.
So, Audrey, what grade are you in?
I'm in 9th grade.
9th grade, woo!
Um,
And did you have your first day of high school already?
No, it's actually tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Which school are you going to?
Irvine High.
Oh, so great. Do you know that I live, like, right by you?
Right where I used to live.
Yeah.
Oh, that's close.
Yes, very close.
That's why I was like, we'll bring Bree.
This is so convenient. We're just in the neighborhood anyways, you know?
And Bree's been a high school leader, so it was like, Bree can give you insight, Audrey, to what high school is like today.
Although, I don't
From
know that
a
I can give
leader's
insight about
perspective.
today because I don't know how to do virtual learning. So
That's true.
I'm going to be a little bit irrelevant when it comes to that. Are you guys, I'm assuming you guys are doing virtual learning. Yes.
Did you have like orientation yet?
Yeah, that's what the call I was just on.
What was it like? Give us the download.
It was actually really boring.
Do we want like Starbucks? Do we want like
Something
ice
refreshing
cream?
because it's very hot today.
It's very hot. This heat wave
Oh man,
is killing me.
it's killing me too.
Audrey, any suggestions?
What guest of honor, what is your desire for today?
Well, yeah, Starbucks sounds.
Starbucks?
Starbucks?
Hit up Starbies? Is this a drive-through Starbucks?
Yeah, but
Sweet.
sometimes the line is long, so I'm going further so that like I don't have to like awkwardly turn for the line, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm kind of feeling a frappuccino
I've
it's-
never had a
because
frappuccino.
it's like ice cream, but you can drink it.
That's like the only thing my siblings get, but they only get one Frappuccino, and it's
the most sugary one. It's like just white. It's called, I don't remember what it's
Oh,
called.
oh, it's called Vanilla Bean.
Yeah, the vanilla bean.
That one tastes
It's
like
so-
ice cream.
It
So
tastes
it's probably just like a
straight
vanilla
sugar.
milkshake.
Yeah, it's good.
Mm-mm.
Would they
No?
do a matcha one?
It tastes like straight
Yeah, they do
sugar.
matcha. Yeah, it does taste like a lot of sugar. But I like it.
I love sugar.
I do too. I'm addicted to sugar, for sure.
Same.
I can't. It's too much sugar for me.
So
You know, I wish I were wired more like you.
it's like when I
Like the more sugar, the
when I-
better for me.
exactly. But when I like don't eat sugar for a long time, then I like feel better,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm also like I could live without it, and then just one.
You get one more hit of it, and you're just like
and
back
then
to being addicted to it.
Addicted again. It's awful. Okay, what do you guys want?
I don't know. Should I dare get a matcha frappuccino?
It's on me. So
I've never tried it before.
Audrey.
I'll get my usual, the pink drink with easy ice.
What's
Okay.
a pink drink?
It's very pink.
Can I get a pink drink with light ice? Oh, what size do you want?
Grande.
What size?
Grande.
Grande.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get, what do you want?
I guess just a matcha frappuccino. Oh my god.
Matcha frappuccino,
No whip.
no whip. What size?
Grande.
Grande. And then I'm going to get, I'm going to do the mocha cookie crumble frappuccino. No whip, but with coconut milk.
Okay, what size?
A grande.
Anything else?
That should be it.
Alright, 15.55.
Thank you.
Oh, interesting.
That is very interesting.
I'll grab you straws.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So wait, what's
Cheers.
exactly in a pink drink?
There is strawberries. And that's pretty much all I know.
Oh no, my straw does this thing
Uh-oh.
where it like got bent inside. I'm just a struggle bus right now.
You know, Heather, I think we can give you permission to.
I can fix this. I've done it before.
Obviously, this is going to be the most entertaining part of the bit. Is
Heather
Heather
fixing her
working with a
straw.
malfunctioning straw.
That
Guys,
was a fast green light.
Heather ran a red.
No,
Not
that
really.
was the
It
fastest.
turned red while we were in the intersection.
And everyone behind me also ran it.
Yes.
There was 2 cars behind me, so we were all in this together.
Yeah, the people behind us actually ran the red light.
Yeah. How are your drinks?
You know, mine really just tastes like a matcha latte, but that just has a different texture. Like an icy texture.
Like it's colder. It's
Yeah.
like more for like.
It's like they
hot dip.
took a matcha latte and just like made it frozen.
How's your pink drink?
Perfect.
Everything you ever needed?
Everything and more.
Wow.
Wow.
I think I need to try it next time. I just forget about it.
Does it taste like strawberry milk? Because I'm not really a fan
Yeah, it
of strawberry
does.
milk.
How do you
Well-
say milk?
Milk?
Do you hear it?
I say it with like an E sound instead of an I sound.
How do you say milk?
Milk.
I know. Oh no, guys.
Bree, you say milk.
People have made fun of me for it my entire
Did
life.
you hear it? Let's say it again.
Milk.
Say like milk.
I say it like this, like, yeah. I don't do it. Milk. It just sounds weird.
You're
Milk.
weird.
I am weird.
You
It's
don't
okay.
say like milk. You say milk.
I say milk.
No, you don't say milk.
You say milk.
I don't know. It sounded weird. We'll have to.
I think
replay
I've said
that.
it the same every single time.
Sounded weird though.
Oh.
That's all I know. Well, this has been a good time.
Yep.
But we are back at your house. So, good luck with school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let us know how it goes.
We're here for you if it's awful.
Okay.
When the service goes live, hop in on the chat and give us the update of how it went.
Okay.
But, yeah. We'll drop you off and then I'll go drop Brio.
Okay.
So you got a pink drink too.
Thanks for joining us for this very enjoyable car ride. You do.
Your hair's blonder too. Did you end up dyeing it?
Yeah.
Let's
I
go.
got it.
Oh, I forgot to unlock it. Okay, bye.
Wow, that looked like so much fun, especially those Starbucks drinks. Frappuccinos and pink drinks are always the best ones. I don't care what people say. A little bit basic, but they're always the best. And the Lord sees no one as basic. Just saying. Anyways, speaking of the Lord, we're going to transition right into Stevie preaching James chapter 4.
What's up, youth? I hope you guys are doing well. We are in James 4, and I've been loving this series through James. James is honestly, like I said very beginning, he just holds a mirror up to you. It challenges you. It's challenging me. It's challenging the way that I live. And if I'm living in a way that actually models the faith that I say that I have, it's so good. I hope that it's challenging you. This week, we're going to be talking about doing the next right thing. So if you watched last week, we had Heather and Sienna absolutely killed it. They crushed it, but they talked about the power of our words, right? We all know what it's like when you have someone who says something to you and it just leaves a lasting impact. And unfortunately, more often than not, those are the negative ones. The positive ones, the ones that God speaks over us, we need to let those wash over us. If you are his beloved, you are his son and daughter, he is proud of you. Everything that's true of Jesus is true of you if we have our faith in him. And so there's power in our words. And I think that this chapter kind of goes more into the power of our actions. Because if we can recognize the power of our words, we can also realize there are times when people didn't show up for us. There were times when people might have done something to us and that left a lasting impact as well. I can think of a story when I was in 7th grade. I was so excited. It was my birthday, and I'm just like not a birthday person. I don't like throwing birthday parties, and kind of because of this story. So I got all excited, right? I was like, okay, cool, like let's do this, like let's have this massive birthday. I cleaned out my entire garage. It was a lot of work. If you guys know how your parents' garage looks like mine was not any different. Cleaned out the garage. I bought my own black lights from Spencer's. I bought the strobe lights. I took signs and I used highlighter because it would show up in the black light, and I just decked out my garage. I chose the best music from the early 2000s, right? It was like T-Pain, 50 Cent, NSYNC, like it was all of the bops. Blink-182, like that was my favorite. So I started I put this whole playlist together. I had my garage ready. I had my pool in the backyard, was all set and ready to go. I told friends at school. I texted them, even though it was like 10 cents a text message back then. I posted it on my MySpace, which you guys don't know anything about, right? Like I did everything. Comes to my birthday and only a handful of people show up. And it was fun. I had a good time, but I was disappointed. And it fed into this fear that people aren't going to show up for me. It fed into this fear that, okay, fine, I don't need to worry about birthdays anymore. Like, I'm just not going to throw a birthday. I'm not going to make a big deal about it because what's going to happen if people don't show up? How is that going to hurt me? And so people, their actions not showing up did something to me. It's affected me. And you guys can probably think of stories like that. And that's a negative story. There are positive ones for sure. When people really showed up for me, when they went above and beyond to show me that they loved me, that I mattered, and I love those people. I can recall those stories so vividly. I'm grateful for that. But we all know what it's like. So what I want to call us into is that our actions carry weight. Words carry weight, but our actions carry weight too. James is kind of known as the doer. Right? He's kind of known as if the gospel is all about grace and faith. This is true, but James says that faith without works, if you don't have a faith that's alive and active, is dead. It actually shows that maybe the faith that you're declaring with your mouth isn't really true in your heart. And so he's calling us to action. And so how we live with our actions, our participation with God, that changes the world around us to become evergreen. How are we living? How are we living our life? How are we showing up for people? How are we presenting our actions in a way that's showing the world who Jesus is and showing the world to become an evergreen world? So I'm going to read James 4, 1 through 3, and then I'm going to go 11 all the way through 17. I'm going to kind of skip the middle because I don't have enough time. James 4, 1 through 3. What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but you don't have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and you fight. You do not have because you don't ask God. And when you ask, You do not receive. Why? Because you ask with the wrong motives, that you may spend it on your own pleasures, right? So that first part is talking about prayer, is talking about asking stuff about God, asking stuff from God, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But verse 11, brothers and sisters, do not slander one another. Anyone who speaks against a brother or sister or judges them speaks against the law and judges it. When you judge the law, you are not keeping it, but sitting in judgment over it. There is only one lawgiver and judge, God, and one who is able to save and destroy, God. But you, who are you to judge your neighbor? So pause on that real quick. This has everything to do with when the Pharisees came to Jesus and they say, hey, well, how would you define the law and the commandments? Like, how would you sum it up? And Jesus says, it is to love God and love your neighbor. So when you're not loving your brothers or sisters, as James is talking about, you're going against the law. So that's that point. And then the final point, verse 13. Now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business and make money. Why? You do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it's the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogant schemes. All such boasting is evil. If anyone then, this is so important, if anyone then knows the good that they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. So that is, do the next right thing. If you know what's right, if you know what's good, if your faith is calling you to love others, if your faith is pulling you, if the Spirit's pulling you in a direction to speak life over someone, as Sienna spoke about last week, do it. If you don't do it, if you disobey the good that you know you ought to do, he's saying it's sin, and so do the next right thing. So that's kind of this whole chapter in a nutshell. So one point, going all the way back to verses 1 through 3, that if you're reading this passage, you probably are asking this question, because I want to read it again. It said, you desire and you don't have, so you kill. You covet and you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and you fight. You do not have because you don't ask God. And when you ask, you don't receive because you ask with wrong motives, so that you may spend it on your own pleasures. So to kind of dive into that point, asking rightly or asking wrongly is kind of like this. When you ask the question of, how can I be blessed? And I use the word blessed because I know it's a big Christian word, but I'm saying that because, sometimes we ask for good things. We ask for, okay, God, how can you fill me with this sense of joy that's overflowing? That's great. That's a good thing. God, how can you maybe help me financially so that I can be a blessing to everyone else? God, how can you, but obviously the object of receiving the blessing is me. And so we kind of ask the question of, how can I be blessed? Which doesn't necessarily mean you're asking for bad things, but the question that James wants us to ask is, how can I be a blessing? It's not about asking, how can I be blessed? That's not necessarily asking rightly. Even though those aren't bad things, what he's saying is we ask wrongly, we don't receive. And so what we need to ask for is, how can I be a blessing? How can I bless others? And when we start asking that question, how can I bless others? That changes our minds. That changes the way that we think about things, our hearts and our desires. It changes. And then we find that when we love others, when we bless others, when we speak kind words to others, when we show up for others, that we actually get filled with joy. We get filled with satisfaction and hope. And all of a sudden we find out that we are blessed. So asking that question, not how can I be blessed, but how can I bless? And then living in that way, you'll find that you truly are being blessed. That's asking rightly. But we also might be reading this and be like, okay, but hold on. I feel like I ask for good things for other people. I feel like I've prayed for people to get healed. I feel like I've prayed for people to get saved. I feel like I've prayed for things that are for other people, clearly the will of God, and I haven't seen those things happen. What is up with that? That's a really, really great question. And what I want to do is I want to call you back to James 1, the very first week of this James part of the Evergreen series, where he says, ask for wisdom, and anyone who asks for wisdom, it will be given to you. Now, I defined wisdom, James defines wisdom as gaining a different perspective, a God-shaped whole history, his redemptive plan perspective that to a huge degree, honestly, we will never fully understand. And so part of the process is just doing the next right thing. What has God called you to do? Do the next right thing. But another part of the process is when you don't have an answered prayer. What do you do with that? When you feel like God hasn't shown up, when you feel like God is silent, what do you do with that? I think you have to be honest with your frustration and your disappointments when God doesn't answer what you prayed for. But the kicker is be ready to trust him. I think sometimes we're like, okay, God, you didn't show up, so you're done. And we don't give God chances. We don't even assume that maybe God is doing something deeper in us. Maybe he's not answering our prayers because he has a bigger perspective than we have. And so you need to be honest with God about your frustrations, but be ready to trust him. Because the reality is many of us, when God doesn't show up, he doesn't answer our prayers we want him to, we just kind of throw him away. We're like, all right, fine, I'm done with you. You didn't show up. God, where were you when you didn't show up in this area? Rather than maybe saying, God, maybe you have a bigger perspective. Maybe you're doing something deeper. Maybe, yes, I'm praying and you want to partner with me, but I'm not fully understanding what you're doing. Be honest with your frustrations, but be ready to trust him. Because the reality is when he doesn't work how we want him to, which is a vending machine reality, right? You put the dollar in, you get your Oreos or Snickers, right? That's vending machine theology. When he doesn't work out how you want him to, or when we want him to, it doesn't mean he's not real. It doesn't mean that he's not powerful. It doesn't mean he isn't working things together for our good. It actually means that he's much bigger of a God than we can even imagine. Think of that perspective. When God doesn't work the way we want him to, it's actually because he's bigger, not smaller. It means he's smarter, not dumber. It means that he loves us more than we even understand. And so let's be ready to trust God. Another thing about this God is he is always inviting us into the process. This God is inviting us into participation with his kingdom come. In the very beginning, in Genesis, God created us and he said, work the ground, be fruitful, multiply. He's inviting us to participate in his kingdom coming. He doesn't want us just to look at a problem and say, God, get it. He's inviting us to be a part of a solution. Yes, he wants us to pray about it, but he also might be inviting us to step into the solution. God wants to participate with us. James is known as the doer, again. And so he's calling us to take action. Check out this passage in Ezekiel. I love it. This passage has been blowing my mind recently. So Ezekiel 22, 30 through 31. It says, the people of the land practiced extortion and commit robbery. Those are bad things, right? They oppress the poor and the needy, and they mistreat the foreigner, denying them justice. And then God says this, I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it. But I found no one. So I will pour out my wrath on them and consume them with my fiery anger, bringing down on their heads all that they have done, declares the sovereign Lord. This passage is intense, but it's a call to action. As I read this, I'm like, whoa, God, you want to show mercy? You want to show grace and love, but you're just asking for someone to step in the gap. You're just asking for someone to plea for it. You're asking for people, your children, to pray and to step in and to do something about it. This is a very different picture of God than I had when I was your age. God is calling us to stand in the gap, to pray against the injustices, to pray against the pain that we're seeing, to stand in the gap against the hatred and animosity we see day in and day out. And he's saying, I want you to stand, and I want you to ask me, I want you to be a part of my plan to change this world, to make it evergreen. So are you tired of seeing a broken cycle of a world that just continues to go round and round? Are you tired of seeing hate on your social medias, in your text threads, and in your own heart? God's inviting us into the process. God through James is inviting us to partner with God, to not look at the big scary thing again and say, God, go get it. He's inviting us to participate with him in the fixing of this broken world. It's a relationship, not a formula. Right? We grow in a relationship. We get to know each other more. We get shaped in relationships. God's inviting us to partner with him in a relationship, not like typing in a formula on a calculator and getting the right answer. It's a relationship. He works with us as we are, where we are, with who we are to take us further into the journey with him. And so if you're praying and you're not getting answers, maybe God's doing something deeper in your relationship with him. So next time a prayer is not answered, be honest with him, be real with him, bring it to him, but be ready to trust him and be ready to ask yourself, ask God, what are you doing? How do you want to grow me deeper in this relationship? How might God be inviting you to stand in the gap and plead with him to heal the world, to do the next right thing? This is what God's up to in the world in this current moment, in your life right now. He's calling us to do the next right thing. Essentially, it's this picture. It's like in the midst of the storms, when the storms are all around us, when there's chaos and darkness, waves are crashing in all around us, God is working to make us a prophetic lighthouse that is shining and declaring safety and land to a world that's marked with anxiety and fear, that's lost in this political debate and that bad habit and that addiction or that negative attitude. Guys, our friends, our families, our virtual classes, our everything, the environment that we're in, they need hope. They need people, they need you, they need me to see the authority that God has given us with the love that we have to be different. Right? When we love our brothers and sisters, as you saw in verse 11 through 12, when we love, we're bringing a new culture. We're bringing a culture of joy. We're bringing a culture of honoring others rather than bashing and talking bad about them. We're bringing a culture of trusting God rather than trusting ourselves, a culture of purity rather than promiscuity. Right? We're bringing a new culture that the world is hungry for. If we want to see this broken cycle and this broken world change, God, through James, is calling us, do the next right thing. What is God calling you to do? How is he calling you to respond? How is he calling you to trust him? And as you take a step, you are a prophetic lighthouse to this dark and chaotic world. So if we live loving God and our neighbors as Jesus showed us and taught us back in the Sermon on the Mount, we will see our world begin to shape. One problem with that is that we actually don't know what the next right thing is sometimes, Another problem is that we don't ask the Spirit to lead us. And when we walk into a room or we walk into our virtual classroom or we come home from a long day, whatever it may be, we're not paying attention to what God might want us to do. And so we don't know the next right thing because we're not paying attention. And honestly, we also don't know the next right thing because we're probably not putting our faces in Scripture and letting God show us his character and heart for the world. So maybe the next right thing for us to do is just to start asking God, what do you want me to do? God, how do I pay attention to you when I step into this room? How do I just pay attention to what you want me to do? What are you calling me to do? Maybe God's just calling you to read Scripture. I know it sounds so simple, but how are we going to know his will if we're not reading? How will we know God if we're not praying? So not to oversimplify it, but maybe that's the next right thing. But also, some of us know the next right thing is love your neighbor. Be kind to the person who needs kindness. If someone has a birthday party, show up, right? Because it's not about you. It's not about whether or not you know other people at that birthday party. It's about you loving the other person. It's about you blessing them. You're asking, how can I be a blessing, not how can I be blessed? Maybe that's the next right thing for you. So what I want to do right now is we're about to go into some worship. I want you guys just to close your eyes and bow your head, and I'm just gonna ask God just to put something in our heart and our minds. So if you guys don't mind, just bowing your eyes. So God, right now, in this very moment, I just pray that Holy Spirit, you speak to our minds and you lay onto our hearts the next step that you want us to take. God, would you show us the next step that you want us to take in this relationship with you? Help us to know it's not a formula, but that this is a relationship. Help us to trust you. So God, right now, what is the next thing you are asking whoever's on the other side of this screen to do? God, we love you. Amen. As we dive into worship, I just ask you just continue to meditate on that. Think about how God is inviting you to do the next right thing. Love you guys.
Hey, Rock Harbor Youth. If you want to just sit here for just a moment and just let the Lord minister to you. Just let Him speak to you. Just listen intently to what He has for you. And then let's worship. I searched the world, but it couldn't find me. And man's empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along and you put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws, but you've seen them all. You still call me friend, 'cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. And there's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one. You're the only one who can. And oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing is better than you. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, So we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you only, God. And great are you, Lord. And great are you, Lord. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you.
Thank you, Stevie, for that awesome message, and thank you, Jesse, for the wonderful worship. Now we're gonna end service by taking it over with the Costa Mesa kids doing something called drop.
I want to see how well a Wii explodes. I don't really know whoever even used Wii U, but we're gonna drop this too. Dude, shout out to Nintendo for making a solid product. That was a bit disappointing, but proud of Nintendo.